Chelsea Football Club and Victor Osimhen could not come to an agreement, but the truth leaks to what offer was given to him, and apparently this is the break-in footage of his reaction when they gave him the offer.
And don't let me nod your face, oh. Don't let me nod your face. You hear what I tell you? Don't let me nod your face. Don't let me nod your face. You hear me, so? Don't let me nod your face. Don't let me nod your...
Now we've seen that, it's a joke. Obviously, it's not that his reaction. However, we have got the numbers that Chelsea have offered. I'm going to explain to you why the reporting from everybody that I'm seeing is evidently incorrect and why people are losing their minds. People were convinced we were going to get Victor Osimhen. People were convinced Chelsea were going to cave, and Chelsea didn't. They had their evaluation and they didn't cave. And Victor Osimhen, respect to him, he didn't cave either. We'll talk about everything. We'll go down to the little details because what the Marcio has given us is great insight. Furthermore, we find out that Jadon Sancho's loan with an obligation is actually an obligation and we're just paying it next year. Because if Chelsea don't achieve this clause, yo, I'm going to lose my hair from stress. And finally, Chelsea Football Club managed to sell or loan or release 29 footballers this year. However, there are 8 that are still left in an isolated area. And what this means is we need to find them a new club. And the reality is Chelsea fumbled the bag. Let's get into it. Let's break the news down. You came here for this specific reason, but before we get started, I need you lot to do me a massive favor. The support during the transfer window was massive, but I need you lot to keep hitting that like button, especially the regular viewers, man. If we keep averaging 1,000 likes per video, it will blow up and more people will watch and the community will grow. And that will support me massively. If you're new, subscribe to the channel, man. Like, it's the best way you can support and keep up with good Chelsea content. Alright, look, we need to talk about Victor Osimhen, and you know my stance. Anyone that watches this channel knows my stance. I think he's a very good player. I don't need to think he's the greatest player ever to lace his football boots. I think he's a very good player. However, just because I find a girl attractive doesn't mean I have to marry her. Doesn't mean that in my eyes, because she is attractive, I need to sign my life over to her. And this is the Victor Osimhen thing. I think he's a good player. I think he's a great player. I just didn't want him at the team purely based on the way that I didn't think the wages he was demanding, the contract, is not good for team building. However, if we got him, I would not have complained. I genuinely would not have complained. Now that that's out of the way, we can talk about the wages that Di Marzio says Chelsea offered him. So what Chelsea offered him, and please, before we get started, you need to understand the difference between net and gross. Gross is before tax, before the government take their portion out. Net is after, it's what you take home, okay? So the reality is, Chelsea offered him 4 million base, meaning no matter what happens in the year, you will get 4 million euros. On top of that, if we make Champions League football, you get guaranteed 2 million. And on top of that, if you meet metrics in terms of goals scored, you can make more, up to 2 million more. So altogether, this is a package of 8 million euros net after tax. At the moment, he's on 11 at Napoli, all right? So now you tell me, why are Chelsea out of order for doing this? Well, people are going to say that, well, Chelsea out of order because you can't give them just 4 million guaranteed. But why? Because Enzo Fernandez is on a contract like that, Caicedo's on a contract like that, Neto's on a contract like that. Anyone that's come in under these new directors is on a contract like that. And we need to be honest, we need to be transparent. This is the way that the club wants to do their business. I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong. This is their club, this is how they do business. We can just sit here and opine on the situation, we can give our opinion. What does he earn at the moment at Napoli? He earns 11 million net. And do you know what? If I'm Victor Osimhen, I'm pissed, because the reality is, if I'm guaranteed 11 million net, why on earth are you asking me to go down to 4 and then I have to ensure qualification and then ensure my metrics and ensure my performance is up when I'm already guaranteed 11? So it's a little bit of a slap in the face, but this is what Chelsea wanted. Look, guys, Chelsea wanted Victor Osimhen not because Victor Osimhen is outstanding. They thought there was an opportunity there to bring in a great player. They're like, he's a great player. No one else wants him at the moment. He's available for 55 million euros. Okay, let's get him on our terms. Can we do that? Is he going to come and be here on our terms? If not, we'll let him go. And this is it, man. It just didn't work out. I'm sorry to tell you guys. I don't think this is anything personal against Victor Osimhen, and I don't think this is anything personal against Chelsea. This is the way business is conducted in the real world. You want to buy a house. You want to sell it for this price. I want to buy it for this price. We can't agree. It's not personal feeling. Now I need to explain to the people that said, should have given Osimhen 11 million euros a year net. I'm going to ask you a question, right? What has Victor Osimhen in his career, apart from winning the Scudetto, which is very impressive, right? Very, very impressive. That one season, he scored 24 non-penalty goals. In his time at Napoli, he scored 14 non-penalty goals in 27 games. He scored 10, he scored 24, and he scored 12. In those numbers, right, exclude the 24 non-penalty. He's got 10, 14, and 12. Nicholas Jackson at Villarreal got 12 in 26 games. At Chelsea, he got 14. Yo, those numbers are the same. Those numbers are ideally the same. So if I'm paying him nearly 11 million net and Nicholas Jackson's getting a third of that, surely it's just better to just keep Nicholas Jackson and reallocate that money next window to somewhere that's more important. Because you need to remember, when you buy a player to come and play, he needs to add more value than the current player that you have in situ. And furthermore, this is another thing. People are going to say, oh, Chilwell's been injury prone, he's on 200k. Reece is on 250 after bonuses and incentives. And he hardly plays as well. So what? You want to just repeat the mistakes of the past. We've given out contracts to players that aren't playing and earning it. So you want to make a mistake, because Victor Osimhen played 24 games, 27 games, 32 and 25. Guys, we'd be going crazy if he was missing 12, 13 games. I'm not saying he's a bad player, please. People are saying, you think Osimhen's bad. I don't think Osimhen's bad. I just like to use logic when I make decisions. I don't like to base decisions off emotions, because when you base decisions off emotions, you make mistakes and you're rash and you're not logical. So for me, I'd rather use the logic. I'd rather use the evidence, the numbers in front of me to help me make a decision. And for me, I think Chelsea made the correct decision for not caving on their demands. That's just my personal opinion. Let me know yours. Did Chelsea make the right decision? So Chelsea Football Club acquired Jadon Sancho. And they acquired Jadon Sancho on a loan now. And then we have an obligation of 20 million guaranteed with 5 million in add-ons based on his performances this year. However, this obligation only is triggered if Chelsea finish higher than 14th. So unless Chelsea have the worst season that we've had, even worse than the season when we finished 12th, we are going to be fine and Jadon Sancho is going to be a Chelsea player. A lot of you in yesterday's video asked me, why are we signing him? What is the point? Is he worth it? Please, at the end of the video, I'll link in yesterday's video. You can go and watch. I don't want to repeat myself. It gets boring. And more importantly, I don't think the people that watch my content consistently just want to hear me repeat the same thing over and over again. I explained that in great detail, but overall, I think it's a good signing. Is it a fantastic signing? No, we'll find out whether it is and he can achieve his levels of Dortmund. However, at the moment, it's good depth. It means Mudryk plays less. And if Mudryk plays less, I'm a happy person. So under this current scheme that Blueco have, Chelsea are heavily dependent on selling players and making sure that players leave the squad. And they are very much going to be busy in the transfer window. They are always going to be sorting out loans. They are always going to be sorting out deals. And what's going to happen is some players' deals are going to break down. What's happened this window is we got 29 players to leave the club. Whether it's 17 on loan, 3 as free agents, and the remainder of 9 left on permanent deals and got us £162 million. Meaning in the future, we can reinvest that money, balance the books now, and then hopefully go get more players in the future. But there are 8 players that didn't get clubs. And I can't lie to you, I'd be fuming if I was those players. And one of them's Angelo Gabriel. We didn't even hear him get linked with anybody. The second one is Omari Kellerman. His deal broke down with Birmingham City. They couldn't agree personal terms, so he's gone. Cassidy, I don't know what's going on with him. All I know is he's training with the first team. There have been pictures that have come out, so that's fine. Then there's Ben Chilwell. Ben Chilwell had initial links to Brentford, however, nothing materialized. There were reports from The Athletic. He believes he can break back into the team once the window closes. For me, Benny boy, it's not going to happen. And now we get to the controversial one. Because the controversial ones are the ones where the deals broke down because of paperwork and admin issues. And this can't happen. I'm sorry. Carney Chukwuemeka had a deal organized to go to Frankfurt in the Bundesliga. The deal broke down, not because they couldn't agree terms. Everything was agreed. Paperwork didn't get filed on time. Second one, Alex Matos was leaving on a permanent deal to Getafe. Getafe agreed the deal. Paperwork didn't get submitted on time. Embarrassing. David Washington, going to Strasbourg, legal action initially placed. Then last minute, Chelsea decided to go against it. He was going on loan to Hull. Hull paperwork didn't get authorized in time. And finally, David Datro Fofana. This guy was going to the one and only Sunderland. He was going to the Northeast. And guess what? The paperwork didn't get time. And for me, how can this happen? You have invested so much money into these players. Honestly, I think Cassidy, Carney, Datro, and Washington, and Angelo, the 5 of them, are close to £19 million or £18 million. So how can you treat assets that are worth that much money like they're nobodies? Because that's what's happening. And I'll explain to you why. Because Winstanley, Lawrence Stewart, Egbali were busy working on the Victor Osimhen and the Jadon Sancho deal. All of Chelsea's resources were pushed towards that side. Maybe because Neil Bath and the other guy left. So what happened is Chelsea was stretched and literally didn't have the replacements in line to sort these deals out. And maybe in the future this won't happen. But what I don't like is we've got 8 players now where it's uncertain what's going to happen with their future. Yes, there is like the Greek market open, the Portuguese market still open for a few days, the Saudi Arabian, the Turkish. But we only have 2 loan spots left, or 1, I think. 1 or 2. Either we're allowed 5 or 6. I'm not too sure on that. Someone will have to correct me, and I don't want to give you wrong information. So we can loan one of them, then we'll have to sell the others. Are these players gonna want to go to the Portuguese league fully? The Greek league? The Turkish league? Saudi? You don't know. You genuinely don't know. This is very, very confusing. And this, for me, stinks of incompetence. Because if you're going to have a model where you bring in large volumes of players, and that will mean you'll have to sell and loan these players. You need to have an individual or multiple individuals that deal with these players, because your main directors are going to deal with your first team. So we need to fix that for the future. I'm not, and you know what? If I was working for Blueco, as a lot of people say I am, I wouldn't be saying this out loud. But this is an area of improvement as a club that we need to develop. But that's my personal opinion. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, let me know your thoughts. Bloody hell, it's 1-1 with Arsenal right now. I can't get my eyes off it. So, peace out, I'm out, have a lovely day.